Often, linear projects involve only small stretches of forest land. Earlier work could not be taken up even on the non-forest portion unless forest clearance was available for the forest land. Now, work on the non-forest part can begin subject to certain conditions. The Supreme Court, on being approached by the government, has allowed delinking of environmental and forest clearances in case of linear projects. Procedures have been simplified to enable easier access to aggregates for construction work. The environmental clearance procedure for special economic zones has been brought in line with the framework prescribed for national investment and manufacturing zones under the National Manufacturing Policy, which would allow the state governments to delegate powers to state pollution control boards and would exempt individual units from public hearing if the special economic zone as a whole had undergone public hearing. This year's budget has also introduced some important initiatives to stimulate investment. It has proposed a 15% investment allowance over and above normal depreciation for investment of rupees 100 crore or more. I hope industry takes full advantage of these forward-looking measures. The budget has also proposed zero customs duty for plant and machinery for semiconductor wafers, fabs, and extended the availability of non-tax benefits to micro, small, and medium enterprises for 3 years, even after they graduate to a higher category. We must do more for supporting small and medium industry, as this sector will be the key component support structure for large industry and will be a major source of productive, creative jobs. The full effects of all these decisions will be felt in the next few months, and I hope they will go far in improving investment sentiment. We will carry this process forward and do even more in the coming days. In addition to supporting domestic investments, we have given clear signals that we welcome foreign investment, which has a critical role in bringing in modern technology and globalizing our economy. Even as our Indian industry steps out to invest abroad, we must welcome foreign investors coming to India and using India as a part of their global supply chain. The liberalization of foreign direct investment in multi-brand retail, civil aviation, and other areas are important signals. We are reviewing the foreign direct investment policy comprehensively to see what more can be done in the coming months. The recent legislative measures in the banking sector have paved the way for granting of new bank licenses by the Reserve Bank of India. This step has been long awaited. The scheme for financial restructuring of state distribution companies has been notified, and several state governments are now working with the Ministry of Power to take advantage of this scheme. This should help restore the financial health of the power sector to a considerable degree. The problem of fuel supply, both coal and gas, to power projects has been posing problem. The ministries are working to reach a resolution of these problems in a time-bound manner. I hope we will see results in the next 3 weeks. Other reform measures are also being contemplated. The Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Committee has made a number of recommendations which will be carefully considered. The Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation and Resettlement Bill has been cleared by the Cabinet and will soon go to Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, India is a young nation, and this gives us the opportunity of reaping a demographic dividend. But to realize this dividend, we need to build our human capital through the scaling up of vocational training and apprenticeships. The National Skill Development Authority and the recent budget announcement on promoting skills-based training through the private sector should help us in making our youth work ready. I firmly believe that good employment is the best form of inclusion. I want industry to work closely with government in promoting skill development. I also urge industry to pay greater attention to offer productive job opportunities to people from disadvantaged communities, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. In other words, the affirmative action must not remain simply a paper exercise, but a living reality. Friends, I have briefly outlined the many areas where government is taking steps to revive our economy. I would urge Indian industry to have faith in our determination and avoid getting swamped by a mood of negativism. One of the advantages of being a democracy is that our shortcomings and our deficiencies are always put before the public. And there are indeed many deficiencies. Corruption is a problem. Bureaucratic inertia is a problem. Managing coalitions is not easy, but these problems have not arisen suddenly. They were there even earlier, when the economy was growing at 8% per annum. We can, in my view, get back to 8% growth even as we try to make the longer-term changes in our system to deal with these problems. And what is more, we can achieve growth of an inclusive kind. The real message of the experience with the 11th five-year plan, which ended in 2011-12, is that we not only grew at an average rate of 8%, our growth was far more inclusive than earlier. Poverty declined much faster. Our agricultural growth rate accelerated. Real wages in rural areas grew much faster. Real consumption in rural areas grew much faster. And the poorer states of our union also grew much faster. This inclusive outcome was the result of a combination of faster growth with a structure that benefited rural areas, combined with many governmental programs which encouraged greater inclusion. If we did it in the 11th five-year plan, there is no reason why we cannot do even better in the 12th five-year plan. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by saying that we have entered a decisive phase in our post-independence economic history. If we can't return to the high growth path that we were on a few years back, it would bring about a transformation in our economy in 10 years, generating new employment opportunities for our young people, and reducing age-old poverty to very low levels. I sincerely believe that each one of us and the world at large has a stake in India's economic rise as a plural, liberal, and secular democracy. At times, when our democratic processes frustrate us, do remember that it is this very democracy, this commitment to pluralism, commitment to these fundamental freedoms that we all cherish, that they are the firm foundations of this ancient land's resurgence as a modern nation. I urge each one of you to keep faith and call on you to partner with the government in our effort to put the economy back on the path laid out in our 12th five-year plan. I wish this conference and the CII all success. I thank you.